So when I was in 7th grade, I was one of the girls. And we all sat around the quad and braided our hair and talked about how boys were gross. And well, the boys, the older ones, they knew this about me too. They bullied me for it. So by the time I reached high school, I figured out that looking like a boy made me safe. And 10 years into my career in tech, I learned how to be one of the guys. And well, my career took off. And I was flying around the world talking on stages like this, from Berlin to Tokyo, meeting with executives on the beach of Tel Aviv. And that privilege gave me confidence enough to feel safe and shed old armors. And I came out as trans for my birthday a few years back. And I lost my job. And, well, that's the first time as an adult that I was sexually assaulted. So the privilege evaporated, and its absence was palpable in the halls of those tech conferences that I had been going to, where job offers had been thrown at me. Suddenly, I couldn't get hired anywhere. I had one manager say to me, "I just don't know how to hire someone like you." So this talk is about bias, and I have news for you. You're all biased, but it's okay, so am I. It's inherent in the human condition. What matters is what we do with that bias. And the trick about it is it's really hard to see your own bias, especially when your community shares it. Now, I am defining perception bias as the impact of our past experiences on the vehicle through which we experience the world. You may have heard the phrase, "That person is seeing through rose-colored glasses." We say this about someone when we think they're in love or in infatuation because we know that their judgment, their perception of somebody else is affected by their desire, their hormones, and it's temporary. Now, the tool that has helped me the most to see my bias is meditation, which I learned as a little kid growing up in India. And ever since then, I've engaged a practice of observing the arising of thoughts, feelings, and memories in the container that is my mind, and by paying special attention to the conditions that alter the color of those thoughts. One can become aware of bias in real time and say, oh, right now, my judgment of this person is affected by some old memory that has nothing to do with them. Observing this with equanimity decreases its power over us. So I thought I knew what color my glasses were before I began to transition this body. And imagine my surprise to realize that the hormones here play a part in this too. When I shifted to an estrogen cycle, the world got brighter. It's no joke to say it's the best antidepressant I've ever taken. So I have colleagues from all over the world with different bodies and different origin stories. I think that diversity is beautiful, but I'm afraid because our businesses are struggling to handle this much diversity. We're building tools for the sum of all humans, and we're getting it wrong. Artificial intelligence is fundamentally a bias amplification tool. An image classifier is only as diverse as the team that trained it. It goes kind of like this. Right now in the world, there's a team of people looking at pictures, tons of them, and labeling them. That's a cat, and that's a dog, and that's a woman, and that's a black man, and that, I don't know what gender it is, so I'm going to delete it. You see, they apply the labels in their mind and group things to improve the accuracy of their classifiers. 98% is an A+, but they forget those outliers and those 2% were people who are no longer represented. From some perspective, each one of us is an outlier. And artificial intelligence is already affecting every area of human life, from whether you get toilet paper in the restrooms in Beijing, to your timeline, to where the police patrol in America. We cannot code our way out of this problem because it isn't a code problem. It's a people problem. And if you want to help, you can start by learning to see your own bias. Move to a different culture, not just another country. Learn the language, become a local. If you can't actually move, read books. Find that community here in Seattle. We are more diverse than you think. and see how your perceptions change when you come back to the place you were familiar with. And also meditate. You don't have to find a quiet place to sit because you build the quiet inside yourself. Find a teacher or tradition and stick with it. It is hard to see yourself this much, but it is worth it. Thank you.